Hey, and welcome back to another Animal Crossing video. Today we're going to go over the very first part of the direct, and we're going to be taking a deep dive into the Roost. Brewster has finally arrived, and we have tons of things to talk about just in his cafe alone, so let's dive right in. So to get started, let's take a closer look at the walls of the cafe. This is a minor detail, but I love that they chose the wall tiles that have the same look as Brewster's feathers. It's attention to detail like that already makes the arrival of Brewster feel really great, and it's just a good start to make him feel right at home. Speaking of at home, I think one of my favorite features is the little photo frames on the wall. They're little Easter eggs from previous games, including KK performing at the cafe from Wild World and City Folk. The little building is actually his cafe from the game New Leaf. And of course, we can't forget the wholesome friendship that is Brewster and Blathers. They're the original duo of having Blathers invite Brewster over on his museum adventures, and Brewster supporting his friend by moving from the city and setting up a shop right in the cafe, time and time again. Along with those, there's a few other paintings on the back wall that are up against this beautiful wood accent wall. They're a little bit more abstract and hard to tell what exactly it is, but they both kind of look like still art, perhaps like a bowl and a flower vase, at least kind of up close from the angles we can see. As we zoom in to enjoy the sight of hot coffee, we get a nice view of the shelving and bar counters. Starting with the bar counter itself, you can see that on the right-hand side there's a register. So I would assume that this means we can actually still get our coffee to go, and some villagers may stop in to get their coffee to go as well. Hopefully Nook lets Isabelle take a longer break than just a coffee run for the two of them, and she can actually sit down and relax. Speaking of relaxing, there's two other seats next to your character at the bar, so I'd assume that occasionally there could be a villager that comes into the cafe and starts sitting next to you when they actually come in, or maybe they'll already be sitting there when you arrive. There's a shiny new teapot and this cute little menu card on the table, perhaps with the coffee bean blend options. We don't actually know what's on there, but that's what I'd like to think. The card on the left has the normal hot coffee cup that you see when you sit at the bar, and if you notice, the card on the right has a to-go cup. So I'd like to consider this kind of like a confirmation that there is definitely coffee to go at Brewster's Cafe. Taking a peek at the back shelves, you'll see all sorts of jars and knickknacks and coffee-making contraptions. I'm no barista, so I couldn't tell you what half of these things do, but I can tell you they look really neat. Look at this little flame thing underneath the coffee pot. It's really cute, and it just has a nice detail. Talk about a pigeon of his craft. There's a little fridge behind him as well with, guess what? Pigeon milk. Pigeon milk has returned. Brewster's world famous. Hopefully there's some normal creamer in there for us as well. One last item on his shelves are the gyroids. I love how small they made gyroids, and the chance to have Brewster have his favorite collectibles as little decor in his cafe is really, really wholesome. Besides the villagers swinging into the cafe on their own, there's now an Amiibo Phone. I'm actually really glad to have a few more reasons to use the Amiibo cards that I've spent hundreds of dollars collecting. One thing to note that is in the direct, Mabel invited her two sisters along with her when you invited her by yourself. This means you can have multiple interactions without needing all of the Amiibo card characters. Some of the pairs I would love to see are Nat and Chip. There's actually a picture of Nat in the museum already, so to have him swing by for some coffee would be a really nice touch. Maybe Harriet and Harv could go on a coffee date, or Isabelle could spend some more time with her brother Digby. When inviting regular villagers, it will be interesting to see what they might chat about. I hope they can dive into their personalities a little bit more, and I'm sure they'll add some interesting new dialogue. Similar to how the personality types gossip and interact with each other, it would be fun to see some more personality-based coffee interactions. I would also love to see if they bring memories similar to the villager combos you can have in Pocket Camp, where certain villagers, when you combine them with others and certain items, have this sort of story together, but I think that's a little bit too much of a stretch. Either way, having the potential for more villagers and NPC interactions is always welcome. The last thing I want to take a closer look at in the Roost is the furniture. Personally, I think that these furniture sets will be Roost exclusive, so we shouldn't get excited at the hope to have them in our own homes. However, it's still a really beautiful set with a strong resemblance to the Zen Cafe furniture in Pocket Camp. There's some cute bar stools, these cozy couches, and these cute square tables that have metal siding to match the bar in the back. There's also these wooden bookshelves that are like a longer version of the ones we can craft, which I think is kind of cute, and these nice museum posters on the back wall near the phone. I love small touches like that to remind you that you're still attached to the museum, and it just shows another way that Brewster is supporting Blathers and vice versa. One of the things I love in this version of the Roost is the planters. They have these beautiful planters with ivies and ferns growing out of them. Unfortunately, I don't think these particular ones will be available, but we did see later in the trailer that there's an additional ivy planter that you can have as a furniture piece. There's also a potted fiscus tree in the back, which is another plant I would love to have, but I haven't actually seen it anywhere else in the direct, so I'm not getting my hopes up. So really quickly, I just wanted to end this with a couple of cute miscellaneous things in the Roost that I've noticed that I think are worth mentioning. The first being the door behind the counter. So you can see where the shelves are back there. The ones that have the gyroids on them is actually behind a door. So it's kind of cute that they're not actually for display for the customers, but the gyroids are past this back room for Brewster to enjoy on his breaks. Another cool detail is the lighting coming in through the windows. These will change throughout the day the same way our windows in our house do, but the windows themselves are stunningly beautiful, and the atmosphere of the window lighting against the plants on the floor are just, chef's kiss. Another thing to note is that Brewster's voice can be heard in this direct. But it's worth noting how deep his pigeon vocals are compared to the other villagers. I love when NPCs have a unique voice that sets them apart from villagers, and Brewster is like no exception. And last but not least, when you are enjoying a cup of coffee with your friends, as you cheer those cups, all the villagers seem to make slightly different facial expressions. It's a small but noticeable change that makes everyone feel a little bit more natural and less synchronized. Also, can we talk about how Brewster is just admiring everyone enjoying their cups of coffee in the back? How cute is this proud boy of his work? Look at him. He's just staring. And there we go. All of the small details in the Roost section of the direct. I will be deep diving into every single part of this direct, so if you enjoy this content, maybe consider subscribing for more. I'm really excited to share all of these things that I noticed with you, and if you spotted anything that you feel worth mentioning, share it with me and everyone else in the comments or in Discord. If you want YouTube to know you enjoy these types of videos as much as you enjoy Brewster coffee, please consider giving the like button a little boop to appease the YouTube algorithm and, just make my day. And with that being said, I do want to give one last quick thank you to all my patrons and members for supporting my channel. I always super appreciate your guys' support so much, and you're just the best, so thank you for everything you guys do. And everyone else, thank you again so much for watching, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye!